the whole point of D&D, I figured, is about three things. Mm-hmm. One, have fun. Mm-hmm. Two, tell a story that you guys will remember years from now, and call back to, and having those memories that you make and enjoy together. Mm-hmm. It's not the story; it's the friends we make along the way.
Yeah.
And don't trust doors. That's the third part.
I don't know what it is about doors. Just like every time there's a door, every D&D party struggles.
That's the two main struggles of D&D: is scheduling and doors.
Yeah,
100%.
I don't know what it is. Like, and the doors aren't even that complicated.
No.
Like, lockpicking is a very easy thing to do for rogues.
Yeah.
Smashing down a door is a typically fairly low DC for your strength-based characters.
Yeah, your barbarians and paladins and fighters, yeah.
If there is magic involved, like Arcane Lock and Knock are second-level spells, so it's like you only have to be level 3 to cast them, so it's like not going to be a huge problem for your wizard, or maybe if sorcerers can cast them, but I think it's mostly just wizard, but like, I mean,
yeah,
that's another thing, is like when you are creating a challenge for your party,
right,
make sure that there is at least some way that they can solve it. Because I have run into the situation where I'm like, oh, I created this cool puzzle, but forgot to take into account that like no one in the party can do this.
The one thing needed to solve the puzzle completely.
Yeah, and it's not like the main aspect of the puzzle, but it ends up being like the linchpin of like, okay, well now the whole thing doesn't work.
Yeah, you needed that one magic item.
Yeah. And that's another point just about like DMing in general, is like making sure that like your party can do things.
Right.
And so like making sure that like they have necessary information. Usually if you're giving a clue, it's helpful to like give it in 3 different ways, or at least 3 different clues, so that like they'll latch on to something.
Yeah.
And especially when you're dropping hints and things like that, like dropping it in a couple different ways. When you are talking about combat, I'll talk about combat and then skills. But for combat, I feel like it's a little demoralizing if you have this fighter character who's trained all his life for combat and has decided to become an adventurer.
Yeah.
And he swings with his sword and you miss. And you get your extra attack and you miss. You action surge and you miss. And you miss again. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, how can I... Like, that just feels bad. Like, my fighter has been doing this all his life. What do you mean he just misses?
Yeah, how does he miss like that?
Yeah. So instead of your player characters failing, I like to say that the NPCs and the enemies that you're fighting are succeeding. So rather than your fighter swings his sword...
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, fine. So rather than your fighter swings his sword and misses, it's like, oh, well, the goblin actually ducks down and ducks under your swing. And you swing again, but they manage to jump out of the way. They're tumbling and rolling and evading all of your strikes.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, now I really want to get this goblin, right? Because this thing is starting to piss me off.
Exactly.
Right? Rather than, oh, I just burned my extra attacks and my action surge, and I have nothing to show for it. And so I found that like enemies succeeding versus players failing is very helpful.
Yeah.
And then making sure not to, for skills, to lock necessary information or clues behind a dice roll.
Okay.
And so if something requires, let's say, an investigation check. Right. We encountered a situation recently where I gave you guys a clue, and it was presented to you as, this is the clue.
Yeah.
Right? And you needed to make an investigation check in order to figure out the clue.
Do the thing. Right.
If I set a DC for that, then, and you guys don't meet that DC after rolling, then the session goes nowhere. It just grinds to a halt because you guys didn't solve the clue. Now, granted, only one person read the piece of paper that was given to you guys. And so that didn't help the situation. And so you can't really account for something like that, and you kind of have to like kind of go along with whatever, because everyone was kind of just like, cool, we have our clue, let's go. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, there's so much more to this that gives you the directions.
Right.
But we're rolling with it because only one person read, and they rolled real low, right? So they figured nothing out. But if there should be an opportunity for the characters to succeed for necessary information. And my primary example of this is with perception checks, right?
Okay.
Like, let's say there's a monster in the woods, and it's headed this direction, right? Everyone's camping for the night.
Yeah.
And different watches are being taken, right?
Yeah.
Either, right, the monster who is racing towards the town, right? You guys aren't in necessary, like, impending danger.
Yeah.
But if you're hired to protect the town or something like that, whatever, like, you kind of need to hear that the monster is coming.
Yeah.
Or you need to decipher some clue in a dungeon or something like that. Like, instead of saying, like, okay, this is the DC.
Yeah.
For the perception check in order to hear the monster coming so that you can go and save the town. I'll say, okay, everyone roll a perception check. And even if you guys roll poorly, right, whoever the top 1 or 2 people are who got the highest rolls, it's like, okay, you guys notice this first.
Yeah, I've noticed you do that is when, again, with perception checks and that whole same scenario, you never say like, oh, you failed this perception check. Mm-hmm. It's always, you notice this first and you leave it up to us to go, okay, cool, what are you going to do? Are you going to alert, the camp? Are you going to go investigate and try and figure out what it is? You leave it open and you leave those threads for us to pull, and you let us kind of choose our own adventure, which arguably is what D&D is.
Yeah.
So I doing it that way is a really well-rounded way to do it, and I'm not only do I appreciate it, but I'm going to steal that as well.
No, I'm glad, because I mean, I've been in the situation where I'm like, oh, none of you hear anything, and then all the players are like, okay, well, now we know there's something, and we also can't access the thing, and so that just kind of feels bad.
Yeah, no, because we have done that before, where it's just like, and you going back to what you've done before of the I guess red herring it would be of, you randomly would be like, okay, roll a perception check, and all right, none of you hear anything, and we get psyched out of like, what's happening, and there genuinely is nothing, and it is going to be a peaceful night, and everything goes fine, but we're just you're building that suspense, so it's not just, all right, you set up camp, you go to sleep, you wake up, and that I feel is an important part of D&D, and because everyone in video games, that's what happens, and a lot of people, including myself, relate D&D to video games. So having stuff like that isn't straight out of a video game makes it feel more alive and more personal, and not so mass produced. So that's another thing that I'm gonna steal, is when I start running my own stuff, is arguably it's gonna feel a lot like one of your campaigns, ideally. Not only because we've had this conversation and you're gonna be one of my main contacts of, hey, how does this sound, but also you're one of the people that I look up to for this kind of stuff. So it's, be prepared for that. Is that you're gonna be like, you might see through some of my plot holes because you're like, I know what he's doing. I would have done the same thing, or I might use that to my advantage of like taking it in a totally different direction. So,
I'm glad, and I appreciate that. Just like, make it your own, and like, however you're gonna tell the story, like, it's gonna be good. So, like, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
As whenever I get the chance to play, which these days is much more frequent, which is awesome. I just love to turn my brain off, and I'm like, cool. Like, if if I'm playing a wizard or something like that, then like cool, like I'm taking notes, like I'm really getting into it, like I'm looking for the plot holes. If I'm playing a barbarian, like the brain is off.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just full on like dumped intelligence stat. Like,
no nothing.
Like I'm not taking notes. I'm not looking for the plot threads. I'm just like, give me the thing to hit and I'm gonna hit it. Like,
all brain or all brawn, no brain.
Right.